Shanghai, and welcome to our workshop, The Governance Without Bureaucrats. Our workshop is hosted by the CityScienceLab at Shanghai, which is a joint lab by MIT CityScienceLab and Tongji University, College of Design and Innovation. In our workshop, we will discuss the resilient communities in the post-COVID-19 age and how to achieve a better community regeneration, health living, social well-being, and efficient governance with modern information and intelligent technologies. So we have a very compact agenda today, and we're going to have an opening speech by our dean, Professor Lou Yongqi, who is also the main director of the CityScienceLab at Shanghai. And we are very happy to have our two speakers, Professor Long Ying from Tsinghua University and Mr. Liu Daizong from the World Resources Institute, China. Then we will have our Q&A session. If you have any questions for the speakers or you have anything you want to share with us, you can just type in the chat window during the speech or just raise your hands after the speech. Christina and Danwen will help us to manage our questions. And please remind it that our workshop will be recorded for the whole time. So these are our speakers, and I'd like to invite our first speaker, the Dean of the College of Design and Innovation in Tongji University, the Fellow of Royal Swedish Academy of Engineering Sciences, and the Board Director of World Design Organization, Professor Lou, to give us an opening speech. Okay, I will stop my sharing.
Thank you, Chan. So as you can see that I have a flight to catch in 1 hour. So actually I'm in the lounge of Beijing Airport. Dear City Science Summit 2020 participants, and welcome to our session, Governance Without Bureaucrats. As Chan introduced, I'm a Professor Lou Yongqi, the Dean of the College of Design and Innovation at Tongji University. And Tongji joined the City Science Network in 2017. As a leading design school in Asia, actually, our most important mission is to educate the leaders of design and innovation for the next economy and society. To fulfill that goal, and we extend the design-driven innovation paradigms in 2 areas. One is design in science and technology. Another is design for social innovation. So then, I mean, maybe you know why the reason, I mean, City Science Network is something that we must be a part of it. And for example, at Tongji, and we spend a lot of efforts to blur the boundary between the university campus and its neighborhood, and to create an ecosystem to connect the above-mentioned 2 areas. And today, I mean, I especially want to say a few words on community. When imagining the most innovative places in a city, and one would like think of innovation campuses, high-tech parks, downtown areas, the CBDs, university campuses, and the research institutions, etc., etc. And it has been a common sense for many. Today, few would doubt that innovation thrives in city. However, the urban communities that occupy the largest land use area in the city are often lie outside the scope of this vibrant image. From academic perspective, and this misconception has its roots in the development of contemporary architecture and urban planning since Athens Charter. And following this tradition, the urban community has long been regarded merely as a set and setting for daily life and leisure. And the commune urban environments were and are designed as place where people can live and relax while consuming and enjoying products produced by other parts of the city. In a particularly innovation chain from invention, engineering, design, production, and distribution to use and recycling. And the community sits at the consumption end, which is a back end of innovation, and it is isolated from the innovation production occurring in other parts of the city. Although the phenomenon and garage culture in Silicon Valley, I mean, that began in 1930s and has flourished since the 1970s, is a kind of a legendary example of the connecting between community and innovation. The potential that the urban community have to drive innovation has not received sufficient attention. I always have a hypothesis, and a lot of my students are working on this topic. If there are appropriate conditions, an urban community will lead the innovation chain rather than become its tail. And a community member will become creative actors rather than merely consumers. So a new paradigm of innovation will occur through shifting the community from the back end to the front end. So this is something, we have been working on for a couple of years. And nowadays, the COVID-19 pandemic has been a kind of devastating worldwide. China is now in a relatively good situation, but in this process, I see the governance of community actually plays a crucial role. And for instance, the gated, community, which is has been criticized for many years. Actually, it's really, in this COVID-19 crisis in China, actually, really, it's really play a very, very important role to help us to cut the people flow. And so we can all expect many paradigm shifts or new normals in our future life, after COVID-19. Hopefully, of course, wearing masks were not among them. But the changing sometimes, could be a good thing if we cannot force us to shift something we couldn't do it before. For instance, the collective behavior change towards sustainability. So I hope that we can take the advantage of using the community, both the virtual and the real one, as a kind of incubator for encouraging responsible behaviors and social interactions. With it, we will be able to nudge or drive societies towards a possible social change at the larger scale and do so much more easier and effectively. So in this process, the city science logic, methods, and tools can do tremendous things. I believe that our two keynote speakers, Professor Long Ying and Mr. Liu Daizhong, and will cover these topics in their talks. So Professor Long and Mr. Liu, thank you very much for your support. And I also like thank my colleague, Dr. Liu Chang and Dr. Guo Weiwei for organizing this session, and thanks our facilitator, Dr. Christina Pazzarini, and thanks all of the audience for being together with us tonight. Please enjoy the session. So I stop here and let's work on our two keynote speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean Lo.
Okay, thank you, Professor Lo, for the opening speech. Then let us warmly welcome our first keynote speaker from Professor Long Ying. I'm Weiwei Guo from Tongji University. Let me introduce some about Professor Long. Professor Long is now working in the School of Architecture, Tsinghua University. His research focuses on urban science, including applied urban modeling, urban big data analytics and visualization, quantitative urban studies, planning sport systems, data augmented design, and future cities. He has an education background in both environment engineering and city planning. Before joining Tsinghua University, he has worked for Beijing Institute of Beijing City Planning as a senior planner for 11 years. Dr. Long's academic studies creatively integrated international method and experiments with local planning practice. He has published almost 200 papers and lead over 20 research and planning projects. His founded projects ranged from international organizations like World Bank, WHO, internet companies like Alibaba, Baidu, local governments like Beijing, Chengdu, and so on, to central governments like the NCFC. Dr. Long is also the founder of Beijing CityScienceLab. It is an open research network for quantitative urban studies. Okay, let's begin, Professor Long.
Okay, thank you, Professor Guo, for the introduction. Okay, first let me set my timer and share my screen. So today, I'm very delighted to be here to share our recent study and recent thinking about technologies and cities, actually. So actually, as revealed by the introduction by Professor Guo, I have extensive collaboration with internet company in China, actually. So we applied big data, artificial intelligence, wearable devices, and like something like Internet of Things, I mean sensors, for understanding our cities, to understand our city space and the daily life. So actually today, in my talk, I like to introduce how to create the future city or the future city space. I think that is a little bit different from our past empirical study using data. However, my philosophy is, in addition to understand our city and more importantly, to create city space is, I think, more important. So my topic is about digital innovation for urban design. So in my vision, in my philosophy, the future urban design may be, the paradigm for that should be or may be changed in the background of the Industrial Revolution. So let me begin. First is the background. I think when we are talking about urban design, I think urban space is very important and the most important component for our cities. I think in both developing countries and the developed countries, or the developing cities or the developed cities, our urban space is always associated with different or substantial problems like the boring, lacking of design and maintenance, flexibility is very limited. And so that is the background. I mean, urban space, when we are talking about cities, urban city space is very important, especially for the public space, which our daily life is contained. And on the other hand, I think our daily life, all the activity in the public space is also in transition. For example, currently we have the so-called online meeting, online working from home, as well as the online shopping, which is very common in China. And we also have online exhibition and online concerts. So that is our era, our time. I mean, a lot of things is changing and different from 10 years ago, I think. And the right image, the image on the right, actually is from the exhibition from UABB. We have observed five volunteers, from different careers. So we can see screen time, screen use is very common and our daily life is fragmented. So that is our era. Almost everything is in transition. So actually, how to accommodate the change, how to accommodate the increasing demand or the transition, the demand, and I think the urban design should be adjusted. The methodology for urban design, methodologically and in nature, actually. So currently, we also see a lot of opportunities for urban design. New opportunities for urban design. For example, there are more emerging and disruptive technologies influencing the way we design, influencing the objects we are designing, like ubiquitous sensors, big data, artificial intelligence, even the robots and automation system. So that is the so-called new opportunity. Actually, before, when we are talking about urban technology, the relationship between technology and the design is support. For example, we have the computer-aided system. We also have the planning support system, applied urban modeling. That is what I like to term as smartly design. And currently, what is the relationship, the new relationship between technologies and the design? I think maybe we can say to design smart space. So that is the so-called digital innovation for urban design. And here I like to propose a definition for introducing digital innovation into design. So actually before we have the spatial intervention for physical layer, and we also have the place making for the so-called social layer. And here I like to newly propose the digital innovation supported by the emerging of disruptive technologies I have mentioned. I think the three components will work together for in urban design. So that is my philosophy. And here is the so-called relationship between the spatial intervention, placemaking, and the digital innovation. So actually, I think there are three paths for inserting digital innovation into urban design or into future urban design. First, for example, digital innovation can be in the form of the sensors, wearable devices. I think we can implant so-called digital innovation technologies into physical space. So that is the part one. Part two is to realize the placemaking with working method, like the apps, information system. So in this way, digital innovation can be working together with placemaking. And there is also part three. I mean, actually, when we are talking about daily life, there are, by default, it is the physical daily life. I mean, daily life, yeah, our daily activity in physical space. Actually, here, we can see we have more and more digital activity or online activity. I think part three is we can try to consider something like digital twins. So that is the three paths for digital innovation in urban design. I think it will be playing more and more important roles in urban design together with the conventional spatial intervention and placemaking. So here we have a more detailed mechanism and process for digital innovation in urban design system. So I think that is a paradigm shift. Actually, we also have talked with some designers like architects and urban planners, even computer game developers. Yeah, we have, I think it is the, we share the same philosophy for the future urban design. Thirdly, I like to introduce the potential scenarios for the digital innovation in urban design. For example, maybe or should be in the future, our outdoor public space. I mean, the public space in the future may be different. So actually here, we also have investigated the top 100 architects in the world, I mean, internationally. And we for the aspect of digital innovation, we have already observed a lot of evidences. Actually, we are in transition. We can observe a shift for the urban design. For example, in Sidewalk Toronto, although it is a failure currently, not developed yet. Actually, however, in the design, we can see the form of digital innovation in the design, and SWACO as well. For example, the boundary between the vehicle lanes and the pedestrian paths. Actually, before we should have the physical physical boundary, and here we can use the digital innovation to replace the physical boundary and umbrella as well. I mean, to smartify our physical space, physical public space. And Huayu Zhou is from our school, a PhD student from landscape architecture department. And in the sponge city design, I mean, he combined several types of sensors with the physical layer and to promote the performance of the space. I think there are a lot of practices for smartified public space like SOM using the lighting techniques for the building facades and Arupa as well, actually. And Nike also has designed the public space in this way. I think in urban design, I think buildings are also very important. I think there are more and more discussion about smart building, smart physical building. Yeah, that is ongoing. And also the smartified street furniture. I think there are more and more industries are working on smart street furniture. I think in the future, there will be more and more interesting smart street furniture in our public space, like streets and square and green spaces. And some furniture like this, like the screens and the facilities providing power and internet services as well. And the placemaking to be smartified as well. So actually, I was also thinking maybe in the future, the computer game developers will be able to collaborate with urban designers or planners, since the former ones are working for the online space and the latter one are working for the conventional, for the offline space. I think maybe in the future, the both aspects will be working together to provide better so-called built environment or the digital environment. Maybe that is one plausible direction. And also the work you're seeing as well. Maybe urban designers in the future will be working directly for the digital layer or for the online world. So actually, we also, since I have mentioned, we have extensive collaboration with internet companies. So for example, TikTok. So you can imagine one TikTok posting averagely receives around 10,000 attentions online. So that is our era. Offline, online, you can see the proportion is so large. So I also like to introduce briefly for the features and benefits for introducing digital innovation into urban design. So first, I think digital innovation can enhance the interaction between human and space and among humans, and to promote the interaction between online and offline, digitally and physically, I think. Second, I think the introduction of digital innovation can augment safety, comfort, perception, and well-being for urban space, I think, or public space. I think digital innovation is also able to replace some physical elements in our space, like boundary, like signal lines, for example, and can also supply internet, supply charging power, supply information, AD, and guidance as well. I think digital innovation is also has the potential to active the public participation. Maybe in the future, public participation will be by default. So that is my thought. And the digital innovation is also able to diversify the function of a space or the activity of a space. And here is the benefits for the introduction of digital innovation into urban design. So maybe, greener, more environment friendly and flexible in terms of space, time, and people, and providing entertaining function, and make a space more equal and accessible. Here are some examples for the combination of the three elements in urban design: spatial intervention, placemaking, and digital innovation. The scenario one, only spatial intervention. We adjust the form, the geometry for a space to provide a better space to people. That is what conventional urban design is doing, actually. And in some cases, we also only have the scenario for placemaking, for social event, for public participation. We only do intervention for socially, rather physically. And scenario three is a combination for spatial intervention and digital innovation. And in some cases, we can also have only digital innovation. I mean, we do design for online world, rather physical world. So that is scenario 6. So anyway, I think in the future, the paradigm or the form of all the components for urban design should be and will be changed a lot. I think not to mention urban design, I think architecture design will also be in transition in the future in such a time, I mean, driven by disruptive technologies. Lastly, I like to briefly introduce several cases. Actually, since I have mentioned, we have investigated the top 100 architecture company, I mean, design companies in the world. There are emerging cases in such a direction. I mean, for example, we have found some cases in design. We also have found some cases already developed. And there are also some discussion. So anyway, I think the most important design company are working or have started to working or thinking in the direction I proposed in my talk today. For example, there are a lot of design company working on the direction and design cases, and in China as well. In China, we also have more and more similar cases embracing the digital innovation in design or in development. For example, for the overall design and for the single and partial design. And in our lab, we also have some proposed some designs in computations, in different computation. Actually, since my lab has been focusing on understanding our cities and for how to create a city. Well, we only have some thoughts. We do not have very well established and developed projects, and we only have some thinking in some computations, in some studios, for example. And I think that is my very preliminary thinking in the past several months. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Long's speech. So, Tom is the second one.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Long. Thank you for your incredible speech, and which gives us a very great vision for the future, especially after the COVID-19. And I believe the digital innovation will be becoming more significant in the future development. So next, if you may, I'd like to introduce our second keynote speaker, Liu Daizong, who is the China Director of World Resources Institute, Ross Center for Sustainable Cities, and the Director of Communications for WRI China. Mr. Liu has over 20 years working experience in urban development strategy, planning and design, urban transportation policy, as well as big data and the new mobility innovation. He is appointed as an expert with Consular's Office of the State Council, UNESCO, World Bank, and Asian Development Bank. So welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me share my room, my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for invitation. I'm very glad to exchange our mind about climate smart cities comprehensive strategy today. I'm from the World Resource Institute. We are kind of NGO, and our headquarters is based in Washington, D.C. And I come from the China office. We have globally, we have 1,000 staff and rank #1 in the environment policy area as a think tank. So today, we just launched a new program called Climate Smart Cities, which is a kind of a response action for the COVID-19. So let me introduce this new launched program to you. If you have more questions, maybe I can introduce my teams with you. They are prepared this presentation material for me.
Sorry, it's my computer or.
No, I think that Professor Liu froze. Maybe let's give him a second and see if he's able to bring it back.
Yeah, I think I would text him. He is not here, right?
He might have gotten booted out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was too much to be screen sharing. But I think that he might be coming back in. So maybe let's give it a minute, and then if not, then we can get into some questions while we wait for him to come back.
Yeah. We have a question for Professor Long Ying here in the chat window.
Yes,
Yeah.
I already noticed the question. I think I appreciate it a lot. I also admit the adverse function or impact of the technology on city space or on citizens, and that is I have been thinking about that. For example, the digital divide and the so-called technology may be promoting, maybe making people more segregated. So actually, we are also working with Tencent, I mean the internet company in China, and we have released a report on future city space driven by emerging and disruptive technologies. The main purpose for that report is not to imagine what the future city space will be looking like. Actually, we are trying to alert, to promote cautions for planners and designers. I mean, what technologies will be leading our city space or city in the future. So actually in that report, we have proposed some cautions for the technology impacting city space. Yeah, I really to tell the truth, I in my talk today, the main focus is is at the methodology level, not the society or the essence level or the nature level. I think methodologically, digital innovation will be quite helpful for bridging physical, social, and technology or the digital layers. I think in the future urban design, we should not forget the digital layer.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yes,
you
I already finished them.
I'm so sorry. Seems I have some technical problems.
Yeah. So why don't we let Professor Long finish his thought, and then we can get back into your presentation.
Okay.
I think I am going to conclude my answer to the question. So yeah, I also appreciate the adverse or the negative impact of technology on city space. That is my concern, and we have some answers in the with space. I mean the co-author the report together with consent. If you have interest, you can Google Beijing City Lab, and in the projects channel we have that report. We have some answers in that report. Yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I think I don't know why, but I offline. So let me continue. Because it's a new program called the Climate Smart Cities. It's kind of a response action from WRI China to the COVID-19. So you can find here, it's a clearly globally you can find that we have almost the second wave of the COVID-19. In particularly like in Spain, in UK, it's a second wave from the end of the August. So the COVID-19 impact globally is still here, but in China, we control very well. And let's see the COVID-19, how impact on the China's economic. You can find the GDP here and how China go back to normal. A lot of indicator like the property sales, the coal consumption, and the road traffic. You can find it's really back to the normal. And then some PMI, that index also show you how the China's economic be impacted by the COVID-19. So this is just a kind of background information for you. And secondly, the first challenge from the COVID-19 is how is that the urban density is the right things. So this is the first question we need to answer. A lot of people want to link the COVID-19 with the number of the confirmed cases with urban densities. But a lot of research showed us that urban density is not directly linked with the confirmed cases. The left side is the number of cases of the China cities and the response with urban density, the population density, and also from the New York City, based on the different zip code, you can find it's really not relevant with the population densities of the COVID. So that means we need to still go to the urbanization process for the future. Huh? And yes, this also have some kind of research from the New York cities. The right side is a population density, and the left side is the population density, and the right side is confirmed cases, the density. So you can find it's really not directly connected. And the question to China now is about the revenge, the pollution. So you can find in the end of the January, the NOx, the pollution in China is really good. But after the March, you can find it's a comeback. And from the right side of figures, you can find in Beijing, Guangzhou, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, it's the first line, the tier one cities, all the pollutants is going back. So this means we also need to have some more smart decision how we move forward. So the conclusion is coming from the Christina figures that say it's very interesting sentence. That's we are not build the old back. We need to build forward. So this is why we need to think about how to build China back better from the COVID. Do we want to go to the old normal? That's a very pollutant air pollutant issues or traffic congestion issues, or we need to use that opportunity to build a new future, a new normal. So this is why we
Professor Liu, I think we might have lost you again.
He's offline again.
I don't think he's offline, but he might have frozen. Can you hear us, Professor Liu? Okay, I think that he might have gotten booted out again.
Right.
So there is another question in the chat. We can go ahead and do that one while we wait for him to come back online. So Anki is asking Professor Long, how do urban architectural and landscape design students need to be trained in this smart urban space area?
Yeah, okay, Christina. Yes, thanks. So actually, by the way, I have relayed a message to Daizong for his offline, actually, and to aware him where we. So Anti's question is about the education. Yeah, that is very interesting. Actually, I have no idea about the overseas, the international education for designers. And as far as I know, for the mainland China system for architects and landscape architects and urban planners or urban designers, most of the courses or the trainings are for the physical layer, I think, how to optimize the urban form, how to optimize the geometry or the shape of a space. I think we also need some training or education supporting for social layer and digital layer, since in such an era, we cannot forget the digital layer, since we have an investigation for Tsinghua University students. In average, averagely, every student is paying around 7 hours on mobile phone screens. So you can imagine how much time students are paying attention for the digital.
耳机它居然没有声音。
Yeah, 张燕 maybe you should mute yourself. So I think digital digital layer is also important. So we should do something for digital layer, I think. So for education, we I think, for example, here I have a bottle. Maybe in the future, or should be, in the future, the bottle is already smartified. Maybe already smartified by Xiaomi. Actually, we can put a sensor in the bottle. So we should have the training or courses associating the digital layers, I think, like the data analysis, robots, automation system. I think one way is to future designers be equipped with the digital innovation related knowledge. The other way is to collaborate. So I do not have the answer. I think maybe the first alternative is a better solution. I mean, urban designers should be equipped with the digital related knowledge by default in the future. Yeah, that's it. I think
Thank you.
Maybe he's back.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, maybe we can continue.
Okay, sorry again. Maybe my VPN had some problems, so I changed another one. Because Zoom is not standable recently in China, so we have to use a VPN to link. But anyway, let's move forward. So this is why China, the President Xi Jinping just announced that we want to achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. This is a very strong signal after the post the pandemic era. China want to do more climate smart issues. So, so this is the urban challenges that's means by the climate risk. We are listed here. Most of people when we talking about resilience or climate, they are very focused on the water issues or flooding issues. But actually, they also have other issues like this year, weed or the heating or the air pollutant. They are even the factor of infrastructure of the electricity is also another risk from the climate issues. So This is why, at least here, is a lot of challenges that the urban need to solve by the climate risk. And then we need to thinking the climate smart cities. We need to have a very comprehensive strategy. So I want to list our strategy here as a 3P. One is a climate smart for the people and for place and also for process. So this 3P means people means we need to create a climate smart 15 minutes the neighborhood, the community. For place, that means we need to have a very resilience, the built environment and also lifeline infrastructures. And the process means we need to have enhance our climate governance. So this is a very comprehensive strategy we want to promote to the China, the local government. For example, first one, what is the climate smart for the people? We need to identify the climate risk and improve adaptation capacities and also establish the planning and the design guidelines. So this is a whole picture because today the time is not enough for me to introduce everything. But in China, like Beijing and Shanghai already put the 15 minutes the neighborhood strategy into their master plan. And for example, like Shanghai, they want to have a 15 minutes the neighborhood by the year 2035. And Beijing just announced that that's a quite similar strategy by the 2017. So they want to have everything's life cycle within the 15 minutes, the working neighborhood. So based on this one, we can face the challenge of the urban challenge about the heating issues, about the extreme weather, like poor healthy and the pandemic, air pollution, housing affordable. So they have combined a lot of vision together for the 15 minutes neighborhood the strategy. And we also show some case to Chinese local city how to make 15 minutes the neighborhood strategy more climate adaptation. For example, we use a case from the New York City. New York City have a cool roof program, so they can identify which building using the green roof or cooling roof, they can reduce the air conditions, the cost, and also can reduce the temperatures to face the high temperatures, the heating challenges. So this is a kind of a program we can combine with the 15 minutes, the neighborhood action plan to really do some cases. And besides that one, we also can find other actions we can integrate with that 15 minutes neighborhood planning, make that plan more climate smart. Include like a low carbon transportation, vertical planting, green streets, public engagement and education, and also the vertical gardens. So blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of action based on one. And also we need to help China's local cities to build a community work strategy. That includes the design approach and sustainable financial model, and also community climate risk and investigation tools. So WI today, we are doing quite similar process with the Shenzhen, the local government. We select almost 15 the communities, and we start to identify the climate risk based on the different the communities and do kind of the survey. So this is work is still ongoing. But we already collect a lot of information from the local community based on how they are thinking about climate risk for the local community and the neighborhood, and what kind of interventions they face, and also how to willingness to pay for solve that kind of climate issues. So we are start doing that one. And if you have interest to know some result, you can follow our website. We will publish the result of this survey very soon. And the second one is for place. Just climate smart city strategy for place is mainly focused on the infrastructure and the building environment. So we need analysis and summary the international cases and establish the climate risk screening tools and the methods to implementation address. First of all, you can find in the urban area, China is on the top of all the countries that we will have a damage loss from the infrastructure because of the climate issue. So, for example, the flooding, the typhoon. So China's infrastructure, we investment a lot of money for the infrastructure. So that means we are very sensitive for that climate risk. And today, if we want to, here, this is from the WI research. If you want to investment the money on the climate adaptation, which areas your money is more efficient? You can find when you invest in making the new infrastructure resilience, you can achieve the net benefit almost 4 trillion. So it's quite benefit. It's quite profitable for the local government, because infrastructure is a big investment for the local. So that's why if we make the infrastructure resilience, that means we can keep the city's assets more efficient. So we are learning some case study from the London's the strategy for the resilience space. Like they want to make a zero carbon infrastructure and resilient infrastructure, not only for the water, but also for energy, transportation, electricity issues, like promote the public transportation. And also they want to collect the data, business resilience. So they have a lot of action we can learn from the London how to improve. And another case also show from the New York City by the One New York City 2050s the master plan. You can find they want to improve the infrastructure by the digital methodologies. It's quite similar as China's new infrastructure scheme, as we want to put the 5G, the AI, the big data combined with the street like infrastructure to improve the resilience level for the local infrastructure. And so you can find China, the first resilience program of China is a sponge cities program. It's a really powerful strategy. And you can, but you can find here, when we're talking about for a coastal city like Shenzhen, talking about sponge cities, the first one they are thinking about the water facilities. But when we're talking about resilience for the lifeline infrastructure, it not only means for the water facilities, but also include the electricity, transportation, communication infrastructure. So this is why we propose to scale up the sponge cities program to other areas. For example, like in Beijing, Daxing, they combine sponge city with the airport, like the Daxing International Airport. So they are a fully treatment of the sewage and achieving almost zero discharge of all the rainwater, and also the natural storage of the water on the site is have reached 700 cubic meters. And also we can learn from the Japan. They have flood control measures installed into the subway in Japan, so that they can keep the subway system operating even during the typhoon or the storm waters days. And also in UK for the utility like electricity sites, they also installed the concrete wall on the flood gate. So this is a lot of application for water, but in other lifeline infrastructure. So, and today we need to think about this. And the last part is we need to make our government more smart to management the city. So this is called the climate smart strategy for the process for the governance. So this is another cases from London, like they are integrate all the cross department to adopt the Greater London's authority to promote one policy for the urban resilience. And also they collect the data across the departure and also quantify the cost of the distribution. And this have a lot of the tools we can use to collect the data and do the analysis to make our government have a better decision. For example, this urban footprint. They can simulate the sea level with the urban densities, urban areas. And the dark orange here indicates that the special food areas and impacts passes in Miami of Florida. So this kind of tools can really impact on the local, the real estate market.